6-point basketball game. Chicago staying in it. And right before the break, this was the scene inside Wintrust Arena after Natasha Cloud got that bucket. She wanted her voice heard. That is Enes Kanter in the building today. Kanter was just escorted out.
So I'm sure you've seen this by now. That was the scene over the weekend in Chicago at a Sky Fever WNBA game. Enes Kanter Freedom, who played 11 years in the NBA, was at that game. He's actively trying to join the WNBA after the league refused to ban biological men. But he was kicked out in the third quarter when a Sky player, Natasha Cloud, started screaming at him that Sophie Cunningham wasn't going to sleep with him. It was a very odd scene to see this all play out. Yesterday, the Chicago Sky banned Kanter from attending their games. The league apparently considering a ban as well. Enes Kanter Freedom is an ambassador for Athletes for America at the America First Policy Institute. First question, are you dating Sophie Cunningham?
I am not. I want to make this very clear.
Where did that come from?
Well, it came from Natasha Cloud. You know, they put Sophie in the game the last 3 minutes of the third quarter, and she shot the ball. I put my hand up in the air, right? And then the next position, the Natasha came back and said, she's not going to sleep with you.
I mean, you're moderately tall. She's somewhat tall. You would make a very nice-looking couple. I just want to go on the record with that, Enes. You're
she's
single.
My good
She's
friend.
single.
Oh,
okay, just friends. So Natasha wasn't like onto something.
No, she's not.
Okay.
And then I was like, I'm not trying to sleep with her. I'm just, you know, here to support my friend and protect women. And then she started to cuss at me. She started to yell at me. The sad thing was she's loved by the Chicago fans, and there were a lot of kids on the stands. And I was like, I cannot believe you're doing this.
She was swearing?
Yep.
And what did you say back?
I was like, I literally simply opened my arms. I was like, I'm here to protect women, and I'm here to, support my friends, Sophie Cunningham.
And then security literally came and essentially escorted you out of the arena?
So I played 11 years in NBA. I know the rules. As soon as a fan, you're not allowed to touch a player, or you're not allowed to step over the baseline or the sideline. So I know the rules. I played 11 years. I literally opened my arms. I'm like, I know where the baseline stands. I respect the players. I respect the rules. So that's why I did not break any kind of rules. And they should have warned me, because that's in their playbook.
That they're supposed to warn you first, and you weren't swearing, you were just reacting.
Exactly.
Okay, so then they kick you out, then they ban you from all of their home games, and now the league, the WNBA, is apparently considering banning you from all WNBA games for the rest of the season. Which, by the way, I'm a sports fan. I've never heard of that for something like this.
Listen, you're a Celtics fan.
Yep.
I play with the Celtics. Whenever we went to play against the 76ers, it used to get really ugly. The fans used to cuss at us, sometimes throw things at us. But you know what? We had conversation with the NBA security. They said, listen, they're allowed to do that because it's their freedom of speech. You guys just come down and focus on the game. So that exactly should be done with the WNBA.
All right, Dave Portnoy, Barstool Sports, also a Boston guy. He tweeted, quote, I don't think boys should be allowed to play in girls' sports. I also think Enes Kanter Freedom is an absolute clown for making this issue, his words, not mine, about him. So you're not trans. I don't think you're planning on having surgeries, top or bottom. No. I don't think so. What do you say to people who say you're doing this just for attention?
So Dave Portnoy, please come and speak to my face. Don't. He's like a Twitter troll about this whole thing. But anyway, I respect him because he's a Celtics fan.
But does he have a point?
He doesn't have a point because, listen, back in May, right, I was watching one of the games, and right after the game, I'm looking at social media. One of the players, Gabby Williams, said, I will welcome a trans athlete on my team or against my team. And for the next few months, all these players were coaches and the league itself. We welcome a trans athlete anytime. So I was like, you know what? Okay, then, let me join. Listen, I'm not a difficult person to deal with.
But are you a trans woman?
I am now. So Article 13,
but are
Section
you really?
1, Section 1 says, if you identify as a woman, you're allowed to play. So yes, I am identifying as a woman. Whoever out there, like that's not their journey. This is my journey. I'm allowed to feel whatever I want to feel. Maybe tomorrow I'm going to wake up and I'm going to say, I feel like a Pokemon.
Right.
No one can say or the next day
like
I'm
a
going to
Pokemon.
come up, or a unicorn.
Or a Ninja Turtle.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
So
right.
And we are allowed to do that in
Hey,
America for some reason.
There's no rule for how a guy who wants to identify as a woman has to identify as a woman. You can be 6'10" with a beard, all right, and that's fine. That's what I like what you're doing, because I think you're pointing out the absurdity of all this. But Royce White, he's the other former NBA player who wants to play in the WNBA. Let me just play you a little bit of what he's been doing. Take a look.
They've almost completely denied my trans existence, and I think that's tantamount to genocide. It's hateful, it's harmful to my fellow trans, BIPOC trans, trans-adjacent activists, and everybody else up and down the line.
So I had him on. You know, he was dressed like that. He was also running for the Senate at the same time.
He was, yes.
So it draws a lot of attention to his campaign. He did pretty well in that campaign. He didn't win. But let me just ask you, Enes, wouldn't it be better for somebody who's actually like going through the process? And I understand what you're doing, but this guy in France, for example, who's definitely a man, a biological man, who said he's open to playing in the WNBA. Wouldn't it be better for somebody like that to go to the league, dominate, to point out the absurdity of the WNBA?
Instead of us, you're saying, huh?
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's no rule against that. If they come out and say, okay, we are adding the word biological next to the female in our collective bargaining, I will drop everything immediately. But till then, I'm just a rule follower, right? I'm just following their rules. These are the rules that they put. But if they ever come out, listen, I'm not a difficult person to deal with. If tomorrow they come out and say, hey, okay, we made a decision. We finally found out after 2 weeks what a woman is. Okay. With our task force, we are adding the word biological. I will drop everything immediately.
Living up to your name, Enes Kanter Freedom.
Exactly.
Appreciate you being here. Great to see you again.
Brother.
Thank you.
It.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.